So, can you tell me a bit about yourself?
My name is Sophia Vi. I am a British Cypriot transgender woman who is a theatre director and actress.
That's brilliant. And can you tell me about your show, please?
Of course, the show that I am directing this year up at the Edinburgh Fringe is Good Boy, written and performed by James Farley. It is a solo person show that examines twink culture, to be quite frank, and misogyny and patriarchal values that have bled into the gay male dating world. It is the story of Boy, a young 18-year-old who has moved from the countryside into Manchester and is in a relationship with his first boyfriend. But after discovering a devastating secret, his world is flipped upside down. And sadly, it is both a dark comedy and quite a tragic piece, inspired by James's life and real life events that happened to James.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Brings the drama, doesn't it?
Definitely. So, have you sort of done Fringe before, or is it like the your first time going to Edinburgh, or have you been there?
So I don't want to age myself, but my first Edinburgh was 2011. And yeah, I've had a little bit of Botox done. Um, and yeah, my first Edinburgh was in 2011, and I actually haven't been back there since with a show. So
Wow.
it feels quite a journey there. I've gone back and viewed a lot of things at the Edinburgh Fringe, but I actually haven't been in or a part of a show. And that show was a new musical that was on at the Gilded Balloon.
Oh,
Yeah, in
wow.
2011. It's been a moment.
That's been quite a while. That's quite a while ago.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I have attended the Edinburgh Fringe multiple times and, come and watch a lot of different things. But, so many summer contracts are usually on during the Fringe that, I would take one of those. But I am so excited to come back to the Fringe. And this year will be my directorial debut up there, with my last time attending being my acting debut.
That sounds absolutely amazing. So, do you have anything like any hints and tips they can share with like my audience sort of thing?
100%. So the biggest thing, I guess, as a 3 point thing, one, it's Scotland. I know it's August, but take your coat. Make sure you have your umbrella. It is still Scotland, it's Scottish summer. The second thing is just be open to meeting people. One of my favorite things I remember from, well, each time I've even attended the Fringe or was at the Fringe was just the conversations I had, say, in the bar afterwards. It's one of the only places you can, connect with an artist who's just performed a show in kind of a very informal way and be open to having discussions about your show, about other people's shows. And it's a glorious way to make connections. And thirdly, make sure you have your flyers on you at all times in your back pocket because somebody will always say, "Oh, what show are you in?" And you go, tapping every pocket on you, going, I had 200 flyers stuffed in my pocket and I forgot them. Make sure you always have spares in your back pocket.
But it's also great to speak to theatre people anyway, because like
Hmm.
if you sort of share like the desire to like see performances or even be involved with something, it's so good to speak to other people.
Oh, so good. I mean, without getting too gushy, I actually do have quite a gushy story from Edinburgh in 2011, if I may share it.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
yeah, like you said, this is an informal chit chat where we're talking about Good Boy and various other things. So the show I was in, The Prodigals, the show following it was Fascinating Aida, as in the incredible institutional show that is there. And if for those of you who aren't familiar with the way Edinburgh works, there's one changing room backstage. Every single there's sort of 3 to 4 different shows getting ready, doing different things, getting there. So we were sharing a changing room with them, and it was there I met Adele Anderson, and
Yeah.
I I had the delightful moment of witnessing for the first time ever a transgender woman performing on stage. And at that point, I actually hadn't come out myself. And now I sort of return years later, and I cannot tell you the impact I had from the conversations I had with Adele Anderson. And there's just no other environment I kind of see that happening. And actually, I would actually say going to Edinburgh and being in Edinburgh kind of helped me understand who I was as a human as well as a theatre lover. Um, and you can't deny that Edinburgh has the greatest spectrum of representation on stage from, from cisgender heterosexual people through to LGBT, through to through to different race heritage, through to different backgrounds, economic background, because it's so large and there's so much selection. And that's the beautiful thing about Edinburgh.
It's so great to just have everybody sort of in one place, because fair enough, you get like touring shows going up like up north and like down south to
Mm.
London, but it's good to sort of have new works that haven't been performed. Like for example, back 5-10 years ago, when like Mischief went to Edinburgh for the play that goes wrong, and then on the
That's
other
where I
hand,
saw Mischief first. I saw them in Edinburgh.
and like the same with Six as well. Like it's just the
Mm.
and a couple of other ones as well that I can't remember
Yeah,
off the
well, Fleabag, and obviously the very
yeah,
recent Netflix one, Baby Reindeer, also both had
yeah,
their premieres up in Edinburgh. Which, with kind of what we're doing with Good Boy, it's a solo person show under a similar guise of Fleabag and kind of Baby Reindeer in the sort of exploration of a solo journey through a piece.
So what's the most challenging thing about being in Edinburgh, so to speak?
So we are preparing our show. So we're doing previews in London at Theatre Tetanus from the 31st of July until the 2nd of August. And we're also looking at other theatrical spaces. The challenging thing about Edinburgh is your rig, lighting and technical and sound rig is limited to every other show that is in the
Yeah,
same space. And your performance space is usually significantly more compressed. So it poses challenges of how do you take a show from multiple theaters, where you're hopefully going to tour further and transfer further. But I also quite like those challenges. I quite like a little bit of a boundary being put in place, a little bit of a hurdle that we maybe have to creatively navigate. And then in the rehearsal room, sort of seeing what might come out if you do put that hurdle in your way, or you do put okay, so we've only got so many lights, or we've only got so much sound, or what does that mean in terms of the storytelling, or what can I give to the performer to do that might be, what's a different approach? How do we think outside the box for this one? Rather than just I work a lot as an associate director, particularly in sort of the West End and various places where you're talking
but
about a lighting rig. You just put another light up there. It's I like the creative out of the box thinking you kind of have to do.
yeah, I've heard from a couple of people that I've spoken to that you got something like
Mm,
5-10 minutes to like get
yeah.
in and get out. So it's like wow. I was
Well,
like,
no, that's also, just to be clear, 5-10 minutes from the end of the previous show to the start of your show. So if you imagine
ah,
they're taking down their show, so it's 5 minutes.
wow,
It's 5 minutes plus, you're talking like they open the doors a minute before your show's opening. It's
wow.
right.
Was
But that's what I love. I love that, and I love the handover. Obviously, the bigger the show and the larger the venue, you may get a little bit more grace time depending on that. But on the whole, you've got to think within that sort of 5 to 10 minute bracket of how you set up a show and collapse it down.
and plus,
Maybe for just one or two people.
and plus as well, you can't really sort of take down like lighting rigs or something like that. That's
No. So it's fun. It's fun. But that sort of challenge is, and I hate to quote High School Musical, but we're all in this together. Is that's sort of the beauty of Edinburgh, and also the beauty of not just Edinburgh, but the fringe scene outside of Edinburgh, Brighton,
yeah.
Camden, all of these other ones. It is that kind of energy that is, new work is the backbone of the industry, in my opinion. New work, new writing, the fringe. Because how else are we going to, keep growing as artists and keep growing if we're, performing the same things over and over again? We need new things as well as the things performed over again. But there's a real beauty and camaraderie. I'm gonna throw
Oh,
out. I'll throw
definitely.
out that word within it. Yeah.
So, who would you say like the your dream audience member would be for your show?
Oh, good question. So we did a rehearsed reading last year. Good Boy was part of Mrs. C's collective, Writers Collective. And when we did this rehearsed reading, we put it out. And this play is very much an LGBT play that explores misogyny and patriarchy, as I said earlier. The thing that surprised me most, and it's to do with thematically what is one of the plot points in it, it's to do with the removal of body hair. And it's to do with this idea of twink culture and being hairless. And what we found was cisgender heterosexual women were the ones that came up to us afterwards and went, yes, for this, please. Yes, for kind of these weird standards that we set for ourselves. So I would say our play is very much for the LGBT community, especially the gay male community, and women. It is for women. It is for women who have ever had to deal with misogyny. Women, any person who's had to deal with misogyny, any person that's had to deal with the patriarchy, any person that's had to feel pressured to remove body hair or to remove, I guess, performatively dress up to an aesthetic standard to please societal levels of beauty. Um, this show's for you. This show's for all of you. And, we are all affected by misogyny in our own way, but the removal of body hair is a big theme within our show. And so I would encourage anyone who's kind of had a little experience with that, anyone who's felt pressured into the beach body, into all of those hair removal things you see on the tube and everything, and gone, ugh, and rolled your eyes, our show's for you.
Yeah, as a gay male myself, it's just like it's sort of a bit like stereotypes as well. Sort of,
Yes.
it's so like I've had like bad experience with the dating app. Like, is
Mm.
the one that begins with G and ends in R?
And we have a whole scene devoted to that one that begins in G and ends in R, because that place is, whoo, that is an interesting place to navigate as anything but a supermodel-esque Sports Illustrated gay man. And it's a toxic place.
100%. I never
Mm.
use it. I
Yeah.
used to use it when I was five, about 5 years younger. I don't anymore. I'm just like,
Mhm.
I can't be asked with that.
I don't blame you. I don't. I try to avoid it as much as I can. But like yourself, dating as a trans woman, you get put into these very odd stereotyped brackets that are just honestly not great for your self-esteem. And actually, that's one of the big things Good Boy sort of explores if you look at it in terms of the 50-minute journey we have and, divided into beginning, middle, end, particularly as we go into the end, what is how should we behave when we're dealt traumatic info, or when, abusive information comes towards us, or traumatic things happen, how are we supposed to react to those things, and actually grinder, sorry, G, the thing that begins with G and ends in R.
It's all right.
Just checking, I'm not allowed to do product placement. We don't
No, it's
actually
all right.
reference that word in it. However, there's a whole scene devoted to it because it is this awful place for your self-esteem. But then, as a marginalized community, and as the LGBT and specifically gay male community being a subcategory of a subcategory, you where else do we have to go? Gay clubs are getting shut down left, right, and center. Resources for different things are getting closed down. And so we find for self-esteem, it's the worst place for it, but it's also the only place we get validation. And we explore some of those themes and what is toxic hookup app culture and what is positive hookup app culture.
I just think as well, more people need to sort of understand. It's not just all about hookups, it's more about, like, I would love to be in a relationship with someone. I live on my own.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know I've got friends, I've got family, but it's just sort of like people don't understand you can't just go on like dating websites because of the stereotypes and stuff.
It is so, and I mean, it's funny when I sometimes talk to my heterosexual friends about Grindr, and I sort of fill them in on like people don't even have names on it. They don't even have pictures. They don't have anything like that. So actually, one of the things with Good Boy that we're very proud to say is we've actually partnered with the charity Survivors UK, which is a charity specifically for men, boys, and non-binary people who are survivors of sexual violence, sexual assault, and sexual abuse. And as both a partnership and consultants to make sure we're doing our due diligence, in both for me in the rehearsal room and for James relaying his quite traumatic story, which is, might I add, we are doing a dark comedy. It's a very funny piece that navigates this journey that James went on about 8-9 years ago. But I think it's so important to talk about these things and to present them in the form of theatre because we don't. And when I do fill in, as I said, my cisgender heterosexual friends on what Grindr is, the G to the R, the hookup app that is for specifically a demographic is they get it's they their jaws are on the floor going, what?
I know.
What do you mean? Yeah, it's an interesting place.
So going back to more theatre related things, because we've got about 9 minutes until my next chat. So is what's best production you've seen recently that you've took something like directing from, like took inspiration from?
I saw Susie Izzard's solo Hamlet very recently. I bought myself a single ticket. I have this little love obsession with Hamlet anyway, where I both think it's the greatest thing ever, and I also think it's the worst thing ever written, but I also think it's the greatest thing ever. And I think that's what makes the Hamlet so amazing, is that you can debate it in so many different lights. Seeing that solo performance of Hamlet and the way Susie Izzard's able to tell this story through playing every single character, through multi-rolling, through navigating the set. And the stage was empty, a very, very empty stage. And I guess obviously the solo show element echoes with that. But there was almost a further element with the way how the beats of the story and the way how the cut of the script had happened and the information held and the information released. And as with something like Hamlet, where, people on a varying degree are familiar with it, even if you're just familiar with To Be or Not to Be, anyone who's kind of in the
yeah,
English as a first language has probably heard that phrase.
yeah.
And, to see somebody navigate the text and play certain beats in different ways, and the way how the fourth wall was broken occasionally, but then you kept me in the story. I just
Yeah.
honestly blown away by it. I thought it was a performance for the ages, that we're gonna note. Brilliant. So brilliant.
It it is it really is so amazing. Sometimes it's not necessarily not the set that blows you away. It's like the performance that blows you away. It's like so like
Yeah.
I recently saw Cabaret like
Oh,
a few years too late, but I was blown away by it.
fantastic show. Fantastic show. Fantastic choreography as well.
Yeah.
I originally trained as a dancer before I went into directing and acting and directing, and I had the pleasure of training with the associate choreographer of Cabaret, and so I remember going in being like, yeah, I'm just going to support my friend, like, like obviously West End, brilliant, fantastic, fan. I just think that show is it's so great to be excited about theatre, and it's so great seeing a show I've seen so many times. And bear in mind, the previous version I saw was Alan Cumming in 2014 on Broadway. And then I'm thinking, well, where are you going to take this? I mean, I saw the Tony Award winning performer. Where's this going? What are you doing? And brilliant. I thought it was fantastic. And I saw Fra Fee as my MC.
Oh wow.
Who did you have as your MC? And
Luke Treadway.
oh, okay, good.
He was really good. And
Yeah. Who's your Sally
Paul
Bowles?
Nick Myers and alternate. She
Oh,
was
okay, okay,
she was
brilliant.
absolutely phenomenal. I can't speak.
Wow. No, it's. I'm just gushing over that show. It was. I honestly one of the best things in the West End.
I really want to see Leighton and Rhea Norwood in it as well.
Yes, I would love to see Leighton do the MC. Because
Uh,
also Leighton has got such an incredible. Although every person that's kind of gone in and done the MC has been a very much a singer actor, with some of them with musical theatre background as well. I mean, Leighton's dance ability is
yeah,
insane. As in, I remember when he was in Billy, and insane dance ability, which he still
yeah.
got, and but also a brilliant actor and an incredible singer. So excited to see what he brings to the table.
Is there anything like that you're looking forward to seeing at all? Like,
Yes, there are a few shows I'm very much looking forward to seeing. The big one will be Timeless, starring the awesome John Raymond, which is a solo person show about a cab driver who cannot create any new memories. It's been performed a few times before, but yeah, really, really looking forward to that one. There is main character energy with Temmie Wilkie, which is on at Assembly, and just I love Temmie Wilkie as a performer. I think she's just got this insight into it, and as a Black queer woman, she's she's writing this show about basically constantly being cast as the sassy best friend, and is doing main character energy. Um, those would be kind of the two big ones at the moment. And oh wait, no, In Defiance of Gravity as well. That's another one, which is a queer magic show
oh
esque
wow,
thing, about an insightful medium. Looks very, very funny and very dark at the same time.
that sounds really exciting.
Yeah, God, I could just keep listing them. There's also Knives and Forks by Danielle James. That's another one. Yeah, no, I've got my do you do the same thing as me with the Fringe book, where you go through and you like you circle all the things you want to go and watch?
I've not been this year. I've not been at all yet. I'm
Oh,
trying
okay.
to. I'm trying to like sort of get the go this year. It's sort of. I work two jobs as well, so it's sort of
Mm,
I work so I work like the later half of the week, so I need to like
Yeah.
condense it down to like a couple of days. So I'll
Where are
try
you?
and
Where are you based?
I live in Margate in Kent.
Oh, amazing. I know Margate well. Well, if you would like to come to Theatre Tetanus in London, a little bit more convenient than Edinburgh, you are more than welcome. And our producer will be on your next call.
I will try. So, in 3 words, why should people come and see your show?
You should see our show because it is funny, dramatic, and God, I can't do it in 3 words. I would say suicidal bunnies and grinder hooker bats. There we go. Which is I've linked that. That's all one word I'm saying in one breath. Suicidal bunny grinder hooker bats.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Well, it's been
No worries.
lovely to speak to you, Sophia. And let me know
Oh,
how it
thank you for the
goes.
time. I will do. Thank you for taking the time to chat to us, and really looking forward to this being released.
Yeah, it'll be in probably about a couple of weeks. I'm gonna get everything together and then like release it every day up until like the Ed Fringe. I think that'll be an easy way to
Fantastic.
do it.
Well, just as a closer, I would like to say The Good Boy is on at the Theatre 2 at Surgeons Hall with the Space UK from the 12th to the 24th of August.
That's brilliant. I hope you have the best time, and I hope to be there.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.